What else we got?
How much of your own stunt work do you guys get to do or are forced to do on the show?
I do all my own stunts. And a lot of Joe's as well. I taught Jason every move he knows. I do nothing. I literally will run. I literally convinced Bam Bam, our fight and stunt coordinator, or whatever he calls himself, party guy, into getting someone to run for me in one of the episodes. I was literally like, okay, so this is a running sequence. Who we got? Who we got? Well, you just run through the. I was like, yeah, but there's, I see a lot of stumps and roots and things, and if I go down, this show grounds will. So he actually talked him into doing it.
I thought McKay would be pretty good at running.
He's very good at running away. But
The ultimate maneuver in self-defense.
exactly. Hey, it's self-preservation. I think it's the smartest thing you can do. Like a man is the only animal that doesn't, that feels the need to sort of, present itself as a, most animals just run away when they're faced with danger. And so do I.
I've got a star-crossed question.
Oh, very good. Well, thank you.
Are you going to put any real aliens in star-crossed, or...?
Yeah, we're doing a casting call. But SETI takes a long time to get back to us. In fact, that was actually what that was about. It was actually not communication with aliens, it was actually a casting call for our show. Actually, there's Starcross, just for those of you who don't know, is basically a pitch that we did to Sci-Fi for it would be a half-hour comedy series along the lines of Larry Sanders or Californication type thing, only done with the Sci-Fi show, the behind the scenes of the Sci-Fi show. Just because we find that actually shooting the show in many cases is more exciting than watching it, which is strange to say, but there's just the process of shooting a television show is insane anyways, but then when you add big rubbery aliens and things, it just adds a whole level of comedy that I can't resist mocking. So, and I've done sci-fi and loved sci-fi and been a part of it at all levels of budget for years now. So I feel I have a few tales to tell on that. But the alien, we actually have one of the episodes that I was working on is an audition for a new alien race, but they can't decide which way to go with it. So there's some animals involved. Humans and animals auditioning for the same part. There's something very funny to me about an actor and a duck going in for the same role at the same time. Hello.
Yeah, good day, Dave. Welcome to New Zealand.
Congratulations. Who's your friend?
You'll meet him soon. The mic.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah.
Oh, you
You're
guys.
such a suck now. You're like, baby.
I saw the episode where you delivered Taylor's baby, and I was wondering whether you were there for the birth of your son.
I tried not to be.
How underdone you thought that scene was, and how your life has changed being a father.
Yeah, it's everyone. Martin Wood was big on. He's always like, oh, fatherhood changes you like that. And I kept waiting for that to happen because it was always. But Baz was first off. Baz was born the last episode of season 4, so I was 10,000 years old, and I had 3 hours of prosthetics on. And they kept saying, like, it's an hour and a half process to remove it, so if you need to go, let us know. I was like, look, if I need to go, you don't have an hour and a half. You can just pick up the little pieces of latex all the way to the washroom because I rip it off as I drive down to give birth to the child. Jane looked after that for me. But we did, what was interesting was that obviously the Taylor birth scene was after I'd done my birth thing, which was, I was a complete and utter coward. There was at one point, poor Jane, it was like 2 days or something. She was just, felt like a week, but it just went on and on and on, and there was inducing involved, and basically, eventually what happened was they had an emergency C-section. I'm sure Jane loves me talking about this. And she has her medical history. So basically we did like 2.5 days of waiting in the hospital, and then all of a sudden, alarms going off, and oh my God, the room filled with. There's a couple things happening. One was where so Jane has been for 2.5 days has been induced, which and not been fairly comfortable for 2 days. Maybe you should ask her, but since like we kept looking at the pain scale. They have like a smiley face going down to a grumpy face, and you have to point where you are on the thing. And I kept doing it. I'm grumpy. No, it's not for you, it's for your wife. Oh, only she's grumpy too. And so we had like 2 days of that, then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose, because Baz was, there was a cord wrapped around his neck or something like that. And that's the most terrified I've ever been in my life. This, literally, like alarms start going. It's like, the lights are going, and I'm like, and this woman comes running, there's about literally 10 people ran into the room and started doing things, and rotating Jane and all this sort of stuff. And they've got this little heartbeat monitor. You've done this. A little heartbeat monitor and a contraction monitor that tells you the strength of the contractions. And so for 2 days I've been watching them. I was like, oh, there's a contraction. It goes up a little bit, down. And then you can hear this little. Well, when the alarm goes off because what happens is the contraction numbers start going up, and the speaker where you hear the heartbeat goes like silent. And I'm like, shouldn't it be making a little noise? And they're like, get out of the way! I'm like, I think it's just the speaker. I'm sure it's probably a connection. And then the contractions would go down again, and you hear this, so it was terrifying. But this woman comes running into the room. There's like 10 doctors and nurses running. This woman comes running in and goes, and I was like, well, why aren't I allowed to do that? And then, like, a day later, she came up and she's like bright red. She said, I'm really sorry. I came in to deliver a baby and I didn't expect to meet Rodney McKay. And she was like one of the nurses on duty, and she apparently watched the show. And she didn't think out of that. I didn't. I was like, look, if she's scared, then I should be scared too. And the other thing was that the woman who was going to do the C-section, doctor, I think they're called, was sort of talking me through what was going to happen. So Jane gets wheeled away, with all these, people jumping on her and rolling her over. It was just insane. And this poor doctor was trying to explain what was going on. I'd just been bought these running shoes from Jane, and I couldn't get the little things, just the little booty things. I couldn't get them over the running shoe. So as Jane's being rushed down to emergency, her doctor was helping me put my booties on. I was like, shouldn't you be delivering a child or something? And I was like, yeah, they usually go on easy. I guess it's the big sole. So we had a big discussion about Nike shoes. And then the other warning that I had was, they said if it comes to a C-section, which I don't know why you just don't do that. Sorry, but that's just, anyway. I'm a guy. They said, everyone said, you don't look over the curtain. Like, stay behind the curtain. So, because you come in and there's your wife is there. It's just like your wife's head and arms. And then there's like this giant tent. And your instinct is to go. I fought that instinct the whole way. And then, this thing's going on. Jay and I are just talking. Oh, gee, I hope it works. How you doing, honey? There. Like, I don't know, because we didn't, apparently you don't have to breathe during the C-section. So we talked. I was told not to make her laugh. That's like telling me to make her laugh, basically. And then Baz comes out, and I don't know how many people have seen this, but in a C-section, they come out, they haven't had any oxygen, right? So they're like purple. They look completely dead. So, and no one had told us this. So I literally, in front of the entire room of hospital staff, turned to Jane and said, I think we're gonna have to try again.